ready. So, am I going to be able to get through this?
Yes, you will.
Breathe. So we tried to have children for a very long time, and we were so excited when we found out we were pregnant. We were having twins. It was super exciting. And then at 24 weeks, we found out that I needed to go on bed rest because the kids were wanting to come out a little too early. So I went on bed rest, and they came 3 weeks later. Thankfully, they both gained a pound in those 3 weeks, so it was huge for us. And actually, this is where I cried. 2 years ago today was when Sawyer fell violently ill in the NICU. Honestly, he wasn't supposed to make it. We said our goodbyes, and he did, and he powered through, and the doctors even in the NICU now are like, this kid is amazing. So when they sat us down when he was 3 weeks old at that point, they said he has brain damage, and we don't know what to expect. We don't know what it's going to look like. We know it's going to be cerebral palsy, something that we weren't very familiar with, but we weren't sure what all that entailed. And they brought up the words therapy, and it was another word that Ryan and I thought, therapy, we were not sure where to go with this path. And the one thing that he and I have been very good about is rolling with the punches, because you kind of have to do that with kids, and then you throw in our extreme circumstances, and we really just embraced it. We said, okay, he's alive. This is what we are meant to do as parents. We're going to, battle this through with him. And so Sawyer has started, he's developed, but he's developing slowly, as you would imagine, with such a severe brain injury. And at about a year ago, we set up an appointment with a neurologist, because we thought, we know he's going to have delays, so let's get ahead of this. Let's see what happens. And the nurse, who I don't even know who she was, but she was our saving grace, on the phone did a little pre-screening, like, okay, before your appointment, let's talk this through. Have you noticed any, jerky movements from your son? And I'm like, yeah, he's cerebral palsy, so things are kind of harder, but he does this really cute thing where he's reaching for us. And she said, okay, well, what does that look like? And I said, well, it happens in kind of clusters, and I just feel like he's reaching for something, but I can't figure out what it is, and it's kind of jerky. And she said, well, let's get you in for an EEG just to see. I don't know if it could be seizures, but let's rule it out before you even come in with the neurologist. So I remember I was on the phone with my mom on the way in. She was watching Quinn, and I said, this will be a quick appointment. It's nothing, I'm sure. He's just Sawyer. He's a little different. And they stopped the EEG 40 minutes in because he had 12 seizures. And at that point, I called him, and I was like, okay, they're admitting us. He's having seizures. This is a whole new world for me. And when she brought up infantile spasms, I Googled it, which is the worst thing you could possibly do. But we, again, rolled with the punches. We stayed no one has ever left him alone. He's had multiple hospital visits, and one of us is always there advocating, because we know him best. And so I stayed up there with him, and we went through the whole series, and he came home on medicine. They put him on steroids. The steroids actually slowed down the seizures and stopped the seizures for a while. They were under control. And about a month ago, he started having them again, and we're working on getting control of them again. But we're one of the lucky ones, because even our neurologist can't believe that he is still progressing at the rate that he is, considering the level of seizures that he was having. He's trying to crawl, and I have pictures to pass around. He has a little scoot, and he scoots himself around. And he's sitting up. He's making, sounds and interacting with us. So when we started exploring the Child Neurology Foundation, it was because somebody in passing, again, I feel like it was an angel, somebody saying, check this place out, see what this is all about. And that's where I found out about the grant. And at that point, we didn't have any equipment for him to interact with his twin sister. He wasn't mobile. He couldn't roll over. He couldn't crawl. He couldn't sit up. And so he would lay on the floor, and she would play around him, or I would be sitting on the floor holding him up, trying to make sure that he doesn't fall over, holding him up, playing with the toy with her, and trying to help them create that bond that siblings should have. And when I found out about the grant, I wrote in and I just said, we need something that's going to help Sawyer interact with his environment and get him off the floor. And we were so lucky that we were chosen, because then we got him, we were able to get this Firefly company that insurance doesn't cover in the US because it's a company that's outside of the US, and we were able to get a play pack. And that is from that, our physical therapists are all huge proponents and huge advocates for this company now, because his neck strength doubled in just a few months from this play pack. Sitting down and being able to look up at his sister and look around has been huge for him. And we saved a little bit of it, just not knowing what we would need later. And the next thing that we got was called a go-to seat. And that seat has allowed him to sit at restaurants with us and eat, something that you don't realize is so important until you don't have it. He is able, for the first time, we were able to put him in his get a little car for his birthday that he wasn't able to sit up in. And he was able to sit up in that and go on a ride with his sister. And since then, we've used all funds that we can possibly get to get every other piece of equipment that they have, because they are all functional for children who have mobility issues. So the Scoot, he can scoot around the house, he can explore, he can bump into things, he can look at things that he wouldn't otherwise be able to do. His bath seat, they don't make one in the US like this, but this bath seat goes to the beach, it goes to the pool, it goes out in the yard and plays in the sprinkler. And it looks like a cool chair. I mean, it's very cool, and there's a picture of it that's going around. So the Child Neurology Foundation opened a huge door for us, because we are now huge advocates for this company, and we're telling all of our friends that we've run into, you've got to try this seat, you've got to figure out this seat, because they are life-changing for these kids. So Child Neurology Foundation has been very important to us as a family, because again, it's opened more doors for us than we ever thought we could have. And then just talking about our day-to-day life, the things that a lot of people don't understand who aren't in our situation are, we have, starting this summer, we have 3 occupational therapy appointments a week, 2 physical therapy appointments a week, an early childhood teacher that comes out, and then we have 10 specialists that follow us. So we are at least at 3 appointments a week. We try to streamline them so it's all in one day. We've now started putting Quinn in daycare, which was not an expense we were necessarily excited about, but she needed that social interaction because she was going to and from appointments. It was very hard on her. So not only do we have that, but he has hydrocephalus, so we check anytime he's sick, we go and get that shunt checked out. He has this infantile spasms. So again, he was having jerking movements, and we've now started increasing meds and may have to do another EEG. He has short gut syndrome, so that complicates things with his eating. He has a G-tube, but anytime, for instance, Quinn came home from daycare with a cold. The cold for him turned into pneumonia. He now has pneumonia, and he has been in the ER at least once getting IV fluids because he can't hold anything down because he's just so congested. And all of those things combined make it very challenging to maintain a relationship, let alone maintain friendships. And we feel that Child Neurology Foundation is going to be a huge part in our feeling like we're part of a group and feeling like we can, that we have people who might understand. And it's helped me become a little bit more vocal with my friends who I've met who had NICU babies, or friends who have children with cerebral palsy, and helping them find the right avenues. And I think lastly, I wanted to say, and now I'm blanking I've got my, we talked about on the scene up. Oh, so the last thing too is, and I don't know how this changes, and I don't know where this changes, but I want to say it because I have an audience. The milestone checklist is so difficult for parents who know they have a child who's behind. It's like walking to the pediatrician's office at 24 months and you're checking no on every box. And it's heartbreaking. And I know that thankfully we have a wonderful neurologist who doesn't do that. She asks, what is he doing? How is he acting? What are you seeing? But I think that for me, I've accepted it, but I know that other families, it's devastating. And I've gotten to the point where I know, and I just say, oh, yep, okay, I'm not even going to fill this out for him, and I just fill it out for Quinn and let it go. But if that could change somehow, and I don't know how, that would be huge for parents because it's already emotionally a journey, and then throwing in the reminders every few months is very difficult. So I think what Ryan and I have said is we were put in this position, and it's been very difficult, but it's also been very special. We've met people we never thought we would meet. We've experienced things we never experienced. We witnessed a miracle. Our child survived. And now they said he would never walk. He's taking steps in a gait trainer. They said he would never talk. He roars like a lion when we ask him to. So we are witnessing a miracle every single day, and we feel thankful for that. And we feel thankful that he is here. And he has taught us and our close friends to be stronger and to not get mad at the little things, because it's not the little things that matter. It's the big picture. It's your life, it's your family, it's your friends, it's the people you love. And that is what we have brought from this whole experience. So thank you. I made it through without a huge crying